Hello, everyone. This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and I am Cece Schatz. I'm the doyen of relationship building, and welcome to our business showcase, our late lunch hour. And I want to thank you all for joining me here today. Unfortunately, we've got our wires crossed, I guess, a little bit with our guest. We had a wonderful guest planned today, Master Ming Tong Gu, and he's with the Chi Center of Wisdom. And he was going to actually help us to reduce some stress with regards to the coronavirus. So I do apologize for that. So what we're going to do is, because here at Going Solo, we know that we just have to hop over whatever log gets in our path, and we just keep moving on, right? So we're going to talk about tips of working from home. I have been working from home for quite a while now, and I love it. But there's also some disadvantages of working from home. So we're going to talk about some of those tips. I came across a really great article here. It was actually 20 tips. I don't know if we're going to get all through it, but 20 tips of working from home by Jill Duffy. And you guys can find the article at PCMag.com. So it's on PCMag.com. So I want to thank very much for this terrific article, which is actually very good. Well, the very first tip is to maintain regular hours. You want to, really set a clear guideline for yourself, because here's the thing. If you don't set this particular guideline with regards to working, you're going to find that things are going to happen. Calls are going to happen. People are going to come into your area that you're working in. A lot of things are going to happen, and you can't stay focused, right? So you want to designate yourself as a working area. You want to get working hours that you work and stay pretty diligent with regards to that. I would suggest stick with what your normal routine is. So when you're going back after the virus and you're going back into the office, you stick with those kind of routines. The other thing is and we're going to talk about this a little bit further. They had it on the news here today about your animals, and your animals are with you and they kind of love being with you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too, and that will help you. But stick with regular hours, get regular working hours, and I think that's definitely beneficial to you. The other thing is to create a morning routine. Just like when you go into the office, right? You create this particular routine that you experience. You go into the office, you get your cup of coffee, maybe say hi to people or whatever. And so you want to do the same thing that you're doing at the office. You want to get to morning routine. Go through your calendar and see what you didn't accomplish the day before, what you need to accomplish today. Get your morning lined up. Get your coffee lined up. Get whatever calls that you need to make out of the way. Get a routine that you normally do that keeps you focused on work. Because the thing is, when we start having a routine in place, it just starts to become automatic to us, right? We don't think anything different about it. And those of you that don't know, I own Going Solo Network, and I also have a co-partner, Christopher Smith, with our dating element that we have with regards to everything that I do. But here on Going Solo Network, we have the radio station, which is goingsolomedia.com, and I am the president of that organization. So again, let's talk about some of these great tips that we have. Then the next one was set ground rules for people in your space. I think that's very, very key. I struggled with that myself, because when you're working from home, it's just nothing to just pop right in, right? Just pop into the office for a minute. Then next thing you know, it's 5 minutes, then it's 15 minutes, then it's a half an hour, and it breaks your concentration. And what I think people don't always get when you're home is that concentration. When we're working on something, especially if you're creating something, you are very focused on what you're doing. And so every time something interrupts you, whether it be the phone ringing, somebody coming into your space, changing that mindset, it takes you away from what you're actually doing. Then you've got to take a few minutes to get back into that mindset again. So you really do want to set boundaries. You want to say, listen, this is my space. This is where I'm going to be working. These are the rules that I have to work by. And, it can be such joy to work from home, but it can also be, a very difficult thing if you don't start putting the elements in play that you need to do to be able to work from home. Then the next one is schedule breaks. Now, this is where I think element is very important. And I, again, struggled with this. I struggled with setting breaks for myself because I would get at this desk and I would get busy into something, and I wouldn't realize that I had been working hours and hours and hours. And sometimes, it's like, okay, you got to go to bed. So you got to really schedule breaks. And here's the reason why. Is because sometimes you have to let your mind rest and you got to get your limbs moving, okay? When we're sitting at a desk all day, we are not moving our legs, our feet, our arms as much. Our shoulders will start curving over because we're at the desk a little bit. So we need to start getting our limbs moving. So it's a great time to get up and take your pet for a walk. It's absolutely wonderful to be able to do that. Oh, he's calling me, but he's not coming into the platform. So let's see if we can salvage this. He's got to come into the platform to be able to work to do this. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to reschedule him as much as I hate to do that. So, but yeah, so anyhow, we need to get our limbs moving, our arms going, our things going, because if we don't, then what happens is we start to swell up, right? And things don't really happen for us. So what we want to do is want to take our break. The reason we want to take our break is because that is what we're doing at the office, right? We set our mindsets as working, and this is what we need to do. So what we'll want to do is this is a great time to be able to start walking your pet. Take your pet for a walk. And so this way you're getting regular routines for him or whatever, and you're starting to do things. I would suggest that on your pet, don't have your pet necessarily in the environment that you're working all the time. If you're going to be going back into the office, if you're going to be sitting and staying at home working, then that would work out fine. But dogs, are human creatures. We get used to something, and so what you want to do is you want to create boundaries for not only people but for your animals. And so what I would suggest is, like, if you're in a bedroom like me, I set up my office right here in a bedroom, and so I shut the door. You would have the pets in another room, and then you could come out and take a break and take them for a walk, and that would be a nice treat for not only you but for them. So you want to take a break so that gets your limbs moving, your legs moving, your mind free, and that's way you can actually take a decent break. And that's certainly something that's very, very important for you. Okay, so the next one is take breaks in its entirety. Okay, so a lot of times what we do is when we take a break, we just take a short little break, right? We don't really use the whole maximum amount of time. And so we want to take enough break that it's going to allow us to be able to have that mindset, really close down our minds a little bit and be able to be a little, especially if we're creative, right? You want to be able to allow yourself to be open a little bit to be able to move forward in whatever it is that you want to do. So you want to take your complete entirety break. And so if you want to take a lunch like you normally do, you want to take a breaks like you normally do. And I think that would be very, very, very important to you. Also leave home if you can, go out, get some fresh air, go outside. Like we said, walk the dog. That's a very good thing to do. Don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it. That is the biggest thing I think we do when we're stuck at home. We don't always ask for help. And so if there's something that we need, especially in our work environment, we need to reach out to other people. Because believe it or not, there are people out there, just like you and me, working from home that, number one, could use a break themselves, could use a diversion of some attention. They could also have the wisdom to be able to help you and feel good about it. So if you need something, if you find that you're stuck at something, not only should you reach out to people that you might know, but reach out to your employer and let them know, hey, I can't get my job done if I don't have this, this, and that. Let's say your internet speed is not up to par reach out to them and say, listen, I need to bump up my internet speed. Maybe they can, pay for that during the time that you're home. They want you to be as efficient as you possibly can and create as much work and whatever that you need to do. So if you need something, you should definitely let them know. We talked about a designated office space. It's very important that you have your own space, that you are going to hook up all of your equipment so that you can just leave it at the end of the day, or leave it at your break, leave it at your lunch, and everything is designated there. It's really terrible when you got to shut everything down, move everything, and transfer everything at the end of the day. So you want to try to create some sort of designated space for you. Maintain a separate phone number. That would be really great to do if you can do that. If you can't do that, here's a suggestion. Go to Google. If you've got a Gmail, and that's another thing. You could set up a separate email for your work, right? Go to Gmail, set up the email, and then get a Google number. And this way you can use that number for work. I actually use a Google number for my online stuff, because I have my own private cell phone number. And then what I do is I have the Google number that actually goes in, and people call me from that number, and it goes to my cell number, or I can direct it to any number that I want to do if I'm traveling. That's been very helpful. So I could do that. So that's also good for dating. So if you are out there dating, that's a good tip for you, is to get a Google number and then just have it transferred into your regular number. And then you would feel more comfortable with that. So the next one is, let me get to the next one. Socializing with colleagues. Loneliness and disconnect and isolation are common problems in remote work life, especially when we are really, people that are very outgoing and stuff. It makes it very, very difficult. Companies with a remote work culture usually offer ways to socialize. For example, they may have a chat channel. So you might have a chat channel that you can hook up with your employer. That way you can actually chat with some of your employees and talk about some of the common interests. There are also different ways of socializing. So there's different people that you can meet. Like you can go on meetup.com. There's different ways there that you can do. There's online, other online chats that you can go to. We have ours, which is Going Solo Together. So you can do that. Also, there's like, the videos and things like that. There's a way to be able to do some socializing with regards to that. Of course, Facebook is great for that, right? Socializing. You can go on different groups, talk to different people, do different things. So when you're taking your break, you might want to kind of do that, because it's also connecting with other people, which is very, very important. Show up to meetings and be heard. Okay, here's the thing, is there's a lot of times when we're working from home, we think we don't have to show up, right? We think we don't have to show up to a meeting. Well, just working from home, it's very, very important that you show up to all meetings, because it's your integrity that's on the line, right? It's making sure that you are showing up, being who you are, and being the best that you can be. And so if you have a meeting, it's very important that you show up. I mean, unfortunately, this gentleman here today, I think he's a lovely guest. I think he thought it was a call-in type of arrangement versus not coming online with the video. And so he didn't connect properly. But I don't think it's that he didn't mean to show up, because I think we'll rebook him and try to get him to come another time. So here's the thing, but you do want to show up, but you don't want to just sit like in a classroom at the back of the room, right? You don't want to show up online and not look your best. And I would suggest another thing, which I didn't mention, I haven't seen it in this particular article, but I think that you need to dress for work. If you are working in your office, still need to take a shower, even though we don't like to sometimes when we're working from home. We just say, just keep our PJs on, go and working. But if you're getting into that frame of mind, you most certainly want to dress for work. Now, that doesn't mean you have to dress up like you were going to go in and put your heels on and all those kind of things. But you can still take a shower. You can still dress nicely. And then when you're having a meeting, that you definitely want to do that. You want to put your makeup on. You want to dress like you normally do. Maybe guys are wearing polo shirts or whatever. But you want to look presentable. You want to look professional whatever you do when you're looking at the eyes of others. The other thing is you want to be respectful to other people when you're in a meeting, when you're at home. Because so often when we're at home, we think, oh, we can just eat something, we can do something, we can have a drink, we can do whatever we want. I'm very diligent about, alcohol drinks when I'm doing, you guys know me, I do these shows late at night. Sometimes I'll have a drink if it's like towards the end of something. But if I'm producing other shows after that, after I'm doing a live show or something, I don't do any kind of alcohol because it's business, right? I have to perform and do the best that I can do. And so even though I'm working from my own personal environment, I still must perform and do the best that I can do. So you want to make sure that you do that. You don't want to do things like, tap like that or do rustle papers. I think that's the worst thing. When we work from home, a lot of times if we're on a call, let's say you're on a conference call where they're not seeing you, in person, but they're listening to you, and then you're rustling the papers, you're doing all kinds of other stuff. Or the worst thing is if you're not really present and you're like doing the dishes and you're running water or something like that. You need to be present at all times, whatever you do, right? And if it's important to you, you're going to be present. And so you want to really pay attention to those kind of things. I do a lot of Zoom type of meetings, and I'm surprised. I mean, we have people that we did a chat night and somebody was cooking their dinner while we're on this gathering. It's like, come on. Just because you're home, it doesn't give you permission to just be laxed on, being polite and looking your best and doing your best. So anyhow, I'm not going to nag at you about that. So you guys kind of know that too. Let's see, get FaceTime. So if your employer, just because you're out of the office doesn't necessarily mean that you can't connect with people in your office. And so when you have, with your employer, if you've got something you need to talk to them about, request FaceTime with them. You can either do it by your phone, we can do FaceTime on the phone, or you can set up a Zoom meeting, because Zoom meetings are free after, I think, the first 30 minutes. You could do a Zoom meeting, or, you could do some other type of arrangement to where you're face-to-face talking, because sometimes it's very important to talk to someone in person. And so when we're doing face-to-face, it's just like being in person, right? You're right there and you're being present, and it's a great conversation that you can have. You can see visual everything. Take your sick days. Even if you're home, even if you're home working, you're still allowed to take the days that you need to take. So if you're sick, then take a sick day. If you don't feel well, don't feel bad about taking the days that you need to take. And so I think it's the same thing. Look for training opportunities. To me, I think that is, with this COVID happening, I think that is just the most important thing to do. I've taken all kinds of things. I've taken a marketing course. I've taken a bunch of other courses. I've created a lot of new things. I've been able to work on some various different projects that I haven't normally been able to work on. So take the time to be able to train yourself a little bit. You're home. The time that you would normally spend driving to work is time you could actually spend learning something new. So, and you can do that by YouTube. You could do it by audiobooks. You could do it by a computer type of course. There's tons of ways that you could learn something new. And so take the training and if your office has something available that you could take some training, do so. Because the better you can make yourself, then the more hands-on you can actually be. Don't over communicate. Working remotely requires you to over communicate. Tell everyone tell everyone who needs to know about your schedule and availability often. When you're finished a project or a task, important task, say so. So over communicating doesn't necessarily mean you have to write 5-paragraph essays to explain your every move, but it does mean that and to repeat yourself. So, I think that happens a lot. We send out emails. We tend to send out, I get tons of emails, and, it's like just get to the point, right? Just get to the point of what it is that you have to say. And the beauty of an email is that it's there for them to look back over if they need to find some other information that they need to gather at another time. And so make your emails concise, make them to the point of what it is that you need to talk about. Don't go and do it again and again and again. Don't say thank you after every time somebody sends you an email. That way it goes crazy. I like Gmail. I'm a big Gmail user. I like it because it stacks my emails. So like if I send an email out, somebody replies to it, it stacks it on top of that. It's easier for me to find it. I personally like that. When I was using Outlook or something like that, it was like we have tons of replies to one email. So I found that was easier for me. So I think that is important. Be concise in what you say, and the next thing is be positive. When any message that you give someone, be positive. Anything that you do, be positive. If you're glum and doom and gloom, you're going to feel doom and gloom, right? But if you can stay positive on top of the world and say, hey, I might not be having the best day, and believe me, we all have those days. But if you can be positive in it, you will be surprised how much better your attitude will be, their attitude will be, how much easier it is to get through something that's maybe difficult to do. So definitely you want to be positive in everything you do. I'm always told that I have such high energy. People that are around me always says to me, oh, you've got such energy. And I take that as such a compliment because that means I'm giving off great vibes. I'm giving off something that is worthwhile, right? And so do that to other people. Keep your energy level high, your positive energy high, and keep it up there and keep it going. I mean, we all have those days, and when we do, then we have our friends that kind of boost us up and help us get through. But let's take advantage of being positive. This one here, take advantage of your perks. So if you've got any particular kind of perk, okay, then take advantage of it. To me, I think it's a big perk to work from home because I have my own refrigerator, right? I have my own, in my office, I keep a little refrigerator over there that has the drinks that I like to drink. That to me, that's a perk. That's a perk that I have. The freedom that you have when you work from home is pretty awesome because you can take breaks when you want to take them. You can work hard and concentrate on something if you truly want to do that. You've got a lot of freedom with regards to working from home. And you can save money on driving, not driving, that kind of thing. And so take advantage of any perks. If your office gives you any particular kind of perks because you are working from home, take advantage of them. Absolutely do what you need to do, to be able to make this time that we're going through a very positive one for you. So definitely do that. Don't be too hard on yourself. I think that is really important because, we, as we're working, all of us, we all think that we need to be doing better, right? We all say to ourselves, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do better. Well, here's the reality. It is what it is, and you're doing the best that you can do. So just say, hey, I am doing the best that I can do, and tomorrow will be another day. I will be able to enjoy it and do things a little bit differently the next time. So don't be so hard on yourself. A lot of people will cut you some slack if you just ask them, say, hey, I'm having a bad day, or this didn't get done, or, I'm trying to get myself, adjusted to working from home. If you just be honest about how and what things are happening to you, most people will forgive you and they'll say, yeah, okay, no problem. We'll move on from that. Is it everything that important that it has to be done immediately? I used to work for someone a long time ago. Everything wasn't important. And finally, I just said, hey, if you could truly, honestly tell me what the priorities are, because I only have so many hours in the day and I need to know which is the priority, because everything is not a priority. And so the reality is that, we all have work that needs to get done, but just figure out what your priorities are and figure out what needs to be done and then work on those things first. And don't beat yourself up if you don't get it done. It's just something that really happens. End your day with a routine. Again, it's all about the routines. When you're working from home, that's what's very, very important. So just as you set yourself up in the beginning of the day, close yourself out at the end of the day. If you need to go in and look at any emails that need to be addressed before you close the door for the evening. A good thing it might be is to change your email when you go to leave, for the night. You can say, that your office is closed or whatever. If you need to reach me right away, maybe leave a number or whatever. But you could close out your email, say, I will address your email in the morning or something like that. You could have an email that goes to that. So this way you close out your day, but set yourself up for the next day, right? Whatever you need to start working on for the next day, have it available to you that you need to do that. But just close out the day properly, and that way you get it done. Let's see. I think our very last thing today is make it personal. Let's see. When you work from home, it's your personal space. It's all about you, and you're creating whatever it is that you're working on. So to make it personal, make your space one that's good for you. Like, for instance, in my particular space, I have a lot of equipment, which makes it very warm in my office. So I have a ceiling fan that goes on. I also have another fan that I can turn on if I need it, because all this equipment gives off a lot of heat, a lot of energy. So, but I also have things within here that are personal to me that I like. I have, as you can see in the back, I have the bookshelves and stuff. And most of those books are relating to my work that I do. I have things up there that I enjoy. I have little inspirational quotes that are around that I enjoy. I make my space my personal space. And I also have my jars, so that, my shaking jars and things like that I have in my office. So make your space your space that you can enjoy, one that you like being in. Because you're going to be, if you're working from home, you're going to spend a lot of time there. And so just as you do in the office, you want to make your space something that's comfortable for you. Well, I hope this helped you. I'm sorry about our show today that we didn't get to speak to Master Ming Tongu, and I'm hoping that we can reschedule him for another time. It's just kind of, when we're in the middle of things, things happen with the internet or whatnot. Maybe he didn't realize that it was a live show. So, but we hope that we can reschedule him, because I think it's very important what he was going to share with us about healing and about reducing stress. I hope that I helped you a little bit today with tips from working from home. So I hope you enjoy the business showcase today. So again, you guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the business showcase, the late lunch hour. I am Cece Schatz, a doyen of relationship building. I'm also the president of the organization Going Solo Network, Inc. And all that you see here, our website for the radio station is goingsolomedia.com. We do radio, we do live streaming radio, live streaming TV, and we also do podcasting. And so we hope that everyone that would like to maybe bring a show forward, we'd love to have you. So we would love to be able to bring any content that you want forward within reason. So we want to make sure that it's for our audience and our wonderful listeners out there. I want to share with you that our listeners are worldwide. We have hosts in several different countries, and we are listened to in various different countries around the world. So we want to thank those listeners that do listen to us each and every week. We do appreciate it, and also come on our show. We have over 200,000 listeners a month now, and I want to thank you so much for that. We have various different platforms that our shows are played on, so our listeners run a gamut of from all around different places. And so we want to thank you all. You're all so very important to us. So again, if you guys want to reach me or send me an email. I would love to hear from you at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. You can send a comment there or let us know what you think about the show, anything you'd like to see. Or if you'd like to be a guest, we'd love to have you. If you'd like to have your own show, we would love to work with you to try to get you to come forward. Again, we do live streaming radio, so you don't necessarily have to be on if you're saying, oh, I can't be on the video part. So we do the live streaming radio. So we do have shows that are just simply for the radio. And then we have ones that we do live here on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoy working from home. I know I do. It gives me a lot of freedom. I feel comfortable in the space that I'm in. And it allows me time to be really creative. And so I hope that you enjoy it also. So any questions that you might have, again, just email goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. I am CC Schatz. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Business Showcase, and I'll see you back here next week. Bye for now. Stick around. We're going to have Author's Corner coming up. We've got some great people coming up for the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. That will be at 2 o'clock. So stick around for that. Bye for now.